And I'm actually vice president for CF Riders. I met Brian about a year and a half ago, and I actually came to one of his rides, and he touched me so much when I started talking to him and hearing his story and stuff, that I just knew that was something that I wanted to be involved with. And then once I started talking to him, and two and two kind of come together, and once I did, that was it. It was kind of over. It was a friendship that was immediate. Can I say he's one of my best friends? Yeah, I can, without a question.
Yeah, I've got a good friend. His name is Brian Johnson. Brian is 39 years old, almost 40, and he's got cystic fibrosis. One of the bravest guys that I know, and he, I guess for lack of anything better to attack this thing with, formed an organization called CF Riders, where, as you see when you move out later with the camera, you can see we're at the Harley place, and so he organizes rides and poker runs and things like that to make money to help, specifically to help families that have children who have cystic fibrosis. Typically, a guy who has cystic fibrosis doesn't live past their teens, so Brian's a miracle already at almost 40 years old. Anyway, we love him. He loves our music. It's a good fit. He's a friend of mine, and so we're down here playing a benefit for him today, hoping to help him raise some money. And this is his armband here, which says, "Dream big, ride free, and breathe easy." CF Riders.
How'd you get hooked up with Bruce and Two Blue and the Lucky Stiffs?
It's kind of a relationship that the first ride when I first met Brian and stuff, then I actually got to meet Bruce. And when we heard them, it was just a band that just kind of came through that was unbelievable. And really loved their bluesy, jazzy type sound. And when CF started coming around, we started asking for help and stuff and needing things to do with CF. Two Blue, Bruce just stepped up and said, hey, this is what we want to do. And we met him one day over at Starbucks, and once we met him over there, he kind of said, hey, we want to be y'all sponsor band. And I was like, really? He said, yeah, we want to do everything for CF. And I was like, great for me. And me and Brian was just sitting there, and then the relationship has grown from there tremendously for all of us. And I hope we can continue to grow. And Two Blue has just been there for us, and they will continue to be there for us, I guess.
All right. How long have you known Bruce?
Known Bruce for a little over a year and a half now.
So that's about the same with the band?
That's the same with Brian. Yep, Brian and CF Riders and Bruce and Two Blues they've all been together. And that's probably why our relationship has been so good, simply because of the fact that it's for the cause, and the cause is what makes everything.
I'm Brian. I'm the founder and president of CF Riders. First, want to give a truly heartfelt thank you for everybody who came out today to participate in this event. This is our third year putting on this ride. We started out a couple years ago with 4 bikes. Last year we had 18, and we've probably tripled that this year. So thank you everybody for coming out. A special thank you to our sponsors, Walter Energy, Thornton Welding, Bob Sykes, Kevin Wayne came out, Two Blue and the Lucky Stiffs. They're going to be playing once we get back, so you're going to want to be back here for that. They're a great band. It's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be a special treat that I promise you will not want to miss. I just turned 40 years old about 2 months ago, and I've got cystic fibrosis. I'm not supposed to be here. I was diagnosed at 7 years old, and they told my mom and my dad, he's not going to live to graduate high school. Well, we never really accepted that. I've got 2 older brothers who never treated me any differently. They never treated me as a sick kid or, you know, somebody that had to do stuff. And I had a very normal childhood and young adulthood. But I've got CF. And again, 40 years old is not something that's seen very often. So I'm very, very privileged to be here. This little one next to me is not supposed to be here either. Because one of the side effects of CF is most males can't reproduce naturally. Most females have a hard time getting pregnant and carrying a child because of the extra pressure on their lungs. We never took that as an answer. So we talked to people, we found out ways to do it. The first time we had a heartbreak. The second time we had a little miracle. Can you wave everybody? Our miracle's name is Hayden. She's 5 years old. She is all of 5 years old. And she tests me every day. But I'm always thankful for her. And she means the world to me. So anyway, back to the story. I had an hour-long conversation about life and the life I was not living at the time. God invited me into a life and said, I've got something pretty powerful for you if you agree to what I'm calling you to do. And I said, well, okay, what is it? He said, no, you accept, then I tell you. I said, all right, things aren't going so great right now, what do you got? He said, you're going to buy a bike, a motorcycle. You're going to learn how to ride. And you're going to ride cross-country to raise awareness and support for people with cystic fibrosis. And I said, not this guy. No. Y'all, I've never been in a motorcycle shop in my life. And here I am being called to buy a bike and ride cross-country with CF. Now I've got about 25% lung capacity. You cut out one of your lungs and about half of your other one, and that's what I roll on every day. And a lot of people say, I don't see how you do what you do. And my reply is, what's my choice? We do what we got to do. So we had an hour-long conversation. I got off our exit down there in Alabaster, and my last words were, well, God, this has been fun. I've enjoyed the conversation. You've shown me some things. You brought up some stuff. But it's all well and good until I get home. And I got to tell my wife. Because she's always said, you ain't never going to have a motorcycle. She also said, you ain't never going to have any tattoos. I've got plenty of both. But I said, you know, it's not going to fly. He said, I got you already. Let me take care of her too. So I get home, and I walk in, and I give Hayden a kiss. And I said, honey, we need to talk. Ruh-roh. That ain't never good when you have to tell your spouse, we need to have a talk. So she knew the gravity of the moment. She muted the TV. And I sat down on the floor in front of her, and I laid everything out to her about what I'm being called to do. And I let her think on it for a minute, and I said, what are you scared of? And if any of y'all who know my wife, she kind of holds back words sometimes. And she said, I don't know. And I said, yeah, you know. You're scared I'm going to end up in a ditch on the front of a truck, dead somewhere. She said, yeah, I guess you're right. That's kind of what I'm scared of. And then I looked at her, I said, you want to know what I'm scared of? She said, what's that? I said, I'm scared of laying in in a hospital bed, taking my last breath with these raggedy bag lungs of mine, with her holding one hand and my little girl holding the other, and having that thought in my head, what could I have done? What difference could I have made? Even just to one person. And I said, I'm not going out like that. I lived a safe life up until I was 37 years old. It's time to live. And that's what God was calling me to do, just live. Not be bound by CF or whatever it is, but just to live life and enjoy what, you know, He's provided for me and our family. And she looked at me, what I swear was about 10 minutes, just dead in the eye, that soul search look. And she said, "Are you serious about this?" And I said, "I've never been more serious in my life." She said, "Okay, let's do it." Y'all, it's one thing when you follow what you're called to, but when the person that you've committed your life to completely and utterly trusts you 100% in leading her and our new child on a wild goose chase, that's a statement. And people say, "I'm strong." That's the one. She's my hero. And so we started planning. And on April 15th, 2011, we left out on what was to be a 10-week, 15,000-mile, 43-state motorcycle ride, where I was going to ride the whole way. And y'all who've seen Forrest Gump, the part of the movie where he just takes off and starts running, and people start running with him, even though they have no idea why they're running with him. That's the image God gave me. He said, "You ride, you go, I'll take care of the people that are going to go with you." Unfortunately, that ride didn't work out the way I wanted it to or expected it to, because we made it all the way out to Northern California, and I got real sick. And we booked it back across the whole U.S. in 5 days in an RV, and I went in the hospital the next day for 3 weeks. I felt horrible, not physically, but I let a lot of people down, I felt. I didn't finish what I started. And any of y'all out here that have family members that have CF or know anybody that has CF, we can be the most stubborn people in the world. And I see some heads nodding over here, because they know. But I felt like I let a lot of people down. I've got unfinished business. But through that period, God taught me a whole lot. And spending 3 weeks in a hospital bed, you have some time to think. And I started thinking, man, this bill's going to be outrageous. But if I'm having to deal with it, how many other people with CF have to deal with it too? And there's over 30,000 people in the U.S. alone that have CF, that have to deal with insurance and medicine and co-pays and government, you know, and Medicare and all this kind of stuff. And it's a lot. And when you start dealing with that kind of stuff, it takes life away from you. But we made the decision then and there that we were going to do something. We were going to start something. And that's where CF Riders was born. The money we raise at events like this stay in this area to help families and individuals deal with everyday life. I had a friend of mine ask me the other night, she said, for PR purposes, why is this ride important? And I had to think on that for a minute. And then the words just came to me, and I told her, I said, this ride's important because somewhere in this state and in this nation, there's a mom who's waking up every morning trying to figure out if she's going to have enough money to pay for food and for medicine for her kids. And there are parents who are trying to figure out the maze of insurance and things like that just to keep their kids well. And there's a kid graduating high school who says, I don't know if I can go to college because it costs so much. And there are parents, or there are married couples with CF who desperately want to have a child, and money is the only issue. And I can't accept that. And that's what we are here to help. Those are the main areas where the money we raise here goes to. It's to help people deal with life so that they can live life outside of CF. And we started this, we had a ride 3 years ago, we had 4 bikes. Last year we had 18. I think we had almost 50 today. I'm pretty excited the way this is growing. But I need y'all's help. Those of you who came out today, I truly hope you had one of the best riding experiences you could ever have. I need you to go home and tell people, because we're going to do this here every year. We're doing one in Montgomery with Greg and Shay in the fall, in October. And we're going to branch out to North Alabama. We're going to go to South Alabama. We've got a ride in Texas. And this thing is growing by leaps and bounds. And I'm humbled by it. It still gets me. Because I'm just a guy who's following what God called him to do. And today I got to ride with some of my best friends and my new family members who I've met today. Yeah, I think we'll